Before we begin, do you have a theory about this case or a story of your own? Share it with me at nightwatchfiles@gmail.com. Your insights could become part of a future episode and be read on air. Let's unravel this together. On July 22, 2015, Maria Dolores Dorantes, also known as Lulu, met with an associate in a parking lot near a local gym. During this encounter, she was presented with photographs depicting a man lying in a grave, seemingly lifeless from a gunshot wound. The meeting served as a crucial moment, confirming that the job had been carried out. As Lulu settled into the driver's seat of a waiting vehicle, the man greeted her in Spanish. He then assured her, "It's done. Everything good. We got him today." Seeking further details, Lulu inquired, "Where was it?" The man replied, "Heading out from the apartments, going to work." He then handed Lulu the photographs of the victim lying in a shallow grave. Lulu examined the images carefully, displaying a startling lack of emotion. Instead of reacting with shock or hesitation, she remained composed, betraying no visible remorse. The man remarked, "The dumbass fought," eliciting laughter from her. As the conversation continued, Lulu and her associate discussed the remaining payment. She handed over $1,000 in cash and jewelry as part of the agreed-upon sum, which totaled $3,000 along with watches and a white pickup truck. She then received additional details about the victim's final moments. Calmly, she suggested using FaceTime to avoid leaving a traceable record of their communication. In a particularly chilling moment, Lulu paused and then stated, "He won't get up anymore, right?" followed by laughter. Her satisfaction with the man's demise was unmistakable. After finalizing the exchange, Lulu left the parking lot. The victim was her husband. He was not dead. Ramon Sosa's life was characterized by his early passion for boxing, his transition to entrepreneurship, and his dedication to his family. Sosa's story began in Carolina, Puerto Rico, where he cultivated his love for boxing, guided by his father. This early training instilled in him a fighting spirit that would define much of his life. Ramon dedicated over 10 years to rigorous training and eventually stepped into the professional boxing world at the age of 17. During this time, he was known as the Puerto Rican Express and achieved a number of knockouts in the ring. Despite his successes, Sosa became disillusioned with the boxing business. Transitioning away from professional fighting, Sosa turned his focus towards education while simultaneously continuing his boxing training. Although his time as a professional boxer came to an end, his passion for the sport remained. Eventually, Sosa settled in Houston, Texas, marking a new chapter in his life. There, he channeled his love for boxing into a new endeavor, opening his own boxing gym. This gym became a place where he shared his knowledge and passion for boxing, mentoring aspiring fighters and becoming a father figure to many. According to Raul Marquez, an Olympic boxer, Sosa was known as a nice, humble, friendly, and family-oriented individual. Mundo, a close friend of Ramon's, notes that he provided guidance when he needed it most. Young Prospects was a nonprofit organization founded by Ramon Sosa to help at-risk kids, utilizing boxing as a means to provide guidance and support. Sosa established Young Prospects to give back to the community, reminiscent of his own experiences as a young amateur boxer. Many of the children involved in Young Prospects faced various challenges, including problems at home, bullying, and gang involvement. Sosa aimed to offer these kids, both boys and girls, an alternative path and a supportive environment through boxing. He traveled the nation with these kids as part of the program. Mundo, who had a challenging background involving gang membership and time in jail, became closely involved with Young Prospects. Mundo assisted Sosa with the kids, becoming a father figure to them, teaching them manners and offering guidance that they may not have received at home. Sosa married and had 3 children. His daughter, Mia Sosa, recalled a joyful childhood filled with laughter and smiles. Despite the happiness Ramon found with his family, his first marriage ended in 2000. Remaining committed to his children, he continued to be a supportive and loving father. By 2007, at the age of 40, Ramon was ready to find love again. Acting on a friend's suggestion, Ramon visited a local club known for its live music and the presence of beautiful Latina women. He wore a Versace sweater and one of his most expensive watches to gain entry into the club. It was there that Ramon first saw Lulu Dorantes, setting in motion a series of events that would dramatically alter the course of his life. He remembers being captivated by her as she danced. Maria de Lourdes Dorantes, known as Lulu, led a life marked by relocation, motherhood, and the search for new opportunities. Prior to her involvement with Ramon Sosa, Lulu encountered notable financial challenges as she endeavored to establish a stable life in the United States. As a Mexican national, she journeyed to Houston, Texas, accompanied by her 2 children, under the status of a visitor's visa. This visa classification imposed significant restrictions on her ability to secure lawful employment within the country. Lacking the requisite authorization to formally engage in the workforce, Lulu resorted to undertaking various forms of informal labor to sustain her family's livelihood. Predominantly, she secured positions involving domestic services, encompassing the provision of cleaning services for residential properties. Additionally, she reportedly functioned as a masseuse, thereby leveraging her skills in therapeutic massage to generate income. These endeavors, while indispensable for her sustenance, were often characterized by instability, limited remuneration, and a lack of conventional employment benefits. Her financial circumstances were further compounded by her status as a divorced mother, which engendered supplementary burdens pertaining to childcare expenditures and the singular responsibility for the well-being of her offspring. During this period, Lulu met Natalia Flores, who became one of her closest friends. Flores remembered Lulu as a nice friend, a good mother, and a hard worker. Lulu's ambition, coupled with the desire to provide for her children, drove her to seek opportunities and build a new life in a foreign country. She was ambitious and cared about how people perceived her. It was in 2007 that Lulu's path intersected with Ramon Sosa's at a local Latin nightclub. At the time, Lulu was on the dance floor when Ramon first noticed her and thought she was a beautiful woman. He recalls her high heels and the pain he felt when she stepped on his toe. The relationship between Ramon Sosa and Lulu began with a chance encounter and evolved into a marriage, but eventually deteriorated. As time passed, the relationship was impacted by financial issues, mutual accusations, and Lulu's growing desperation. After dating for less than a year, Ramon proposed to Lulu around Christmas time. Lulu cried when he proposed. They married in 2009 in a small courthouse ceremony. On their wedding day, Lulu's mother whispered to Ramon, "Lulu is your problem now," which Ramon initially thought was a joke. The relationship between Ramon Sosa's children and Lulu is portrayed as strained and distant, particularly after the initial years of Ramon and Lulu's marriage. Mia Sosa, Ramon's daughter, described her father's home life with Lulu as not harmonious. Mia explained that Lulu didn't want anything to do with us. We were like just nothing to her. Mia characterized Lulu's behavior as ominous, stating, "It wasn't like she was trying to become a stepmom. She knew that at some point we weren't really going to be in her picture." According to Beth Blair, a friend of the Sosas, Lulu didn't like him spending money on his kids and seeing them. Mia also noted that she and her brothers were not hanging out as much because he's got someone else that he's paying his attention to. Mia expressed her feelings of neglect, saying, "Why? I'm your daughter." Ramon himself acknowledged the animosity between Lulu and his children, noting that they did not attend his wedding, which was something that hurt him. Mia stated that her father, Ramon, was a jokester, and every time they were around, there were tons of laughs and smiles. She then contrasts the good memories of her childhood with the coldness that she alleges followed Lulu's arrival. Following the wedding, Lulu quickly pursued becoming a legal resident of the United States. Ramon supported her efforts, understanding the importance of her legal status. According to Ramon, Lulu received her green card a few months after the wedding. In 2010, Ramon and Lulu opened a boxing gym together called Woodlands Boxing and Fitness, combining their passion and skills. According to Ramon, the first 3 years of their marriage were a honeymoon period. He recalled that Lulu would wake up early to make him breakfast and lunch. When he arrived home from work, she would be dressed beautifully. Cracks began to appear in the marriage around the 4th year. Ramon said Lulu started criticizing him and that she developed expensive tastes, spending money on clothes and handbags. According to Ramon, Lulu contacted sponsors of his nonprofit and accused him of embezzling money, causing them to drop young prospects and forcing the group to close. Lulu started complaining to her friends that Ramon was lazy and not working hard enough. She also accused him of being physically abusive and a drunk, allegations he denied. In 2015, Lulu filed for divorce, and she and her children moved to the 2nd story of their home while Ramon lived on the 1st floor. Ramon found the stress of living in the same house with Lulu almost unbearable. On June 9, 2015, according to Lulu's divorce attorney, there was an argument between Lulu's son and Ramon over a truck, which was recorded on a cell phone by her son. The attorney stated that Ramon went to take the vehicle away from him, and when he basically told him, "No, you're not going to take my vehicle," Ramon punched him on his face. Ramon was then issued a citation for assault, but he claimed that his hand only made contact with the phone. Mia said that Lulu had been spreading rumors that Ramon had hit her son, though sources indicate that these allegations, as well as claims of abuse, were unsubstantiated by investigators. As their relationship deteriorated, financial issues also arose. Ramon noticed discrepancies with the gym's income, suspecting Lulu of skimming money. Lulu took over the business, and many members canceled their memberships. The divorce proceedings exacerbated their conflict, leading to increased tension and animosity. It was during this time that Lulu began plotting to hire a hitman to kill Ramon. The narrative of Mundo's involvement in the murder-for-hire plot against Ramon Sosa is marked by a combination of loyalty, street smarts, and a desire to protect his friend. Mundo was also friends with Lulu, and in June 2015, he overheard Lulu talking with her 16-year-old daughter in the gym office. They were discussing a big shot who cuts up bodies in Mexico, and Lulu wondered aloud if this person could help with our situation. The next day, Mundo confronted Lulu, who claimed Ramon was physically abusing her. Lulu then expressed her desire for Ramon to disappear, making a pistol sign to indicate her intent. Mundo was certain Lulu had murder on her mind. He then offered to help her find a hitman while secretly planning to protect Ramon. Mundo told Lulu that he had people who could do the job, specifically mentioning Paco and John Boy. He stated that these individuals would want $12,000 with $6,000 for each. Mundo then spoke with Ramon and told him, "This lady wants to kill you." Upon learning that Lulu wanted to have him killed, Ramon Sosa's initial reaction was one of disbelief and shock. According to Sosa, those moments when I first heard that Lulu wanted to have me killed were surreal. Sosa explained that the words kind of hung in the air for a split second, and when I began to process the message, the words fell into my brain one by one. Sosa stated that the news was so shocking, he thought Mundo was joking. Ramon initially responded by saying, "Shut the fup. Stop playing. Don't play like that." Mundo responded that he had seen the look in people that want to kill before, and Lulu had that look. Sosa's disbelief then turned into a mix of anger, hurt, and confusion. According to Sosa, I was in shock. I was angry. I didn't know what to do. Sosa stated, "I just couldn't believe it. I was hurt. I was angry." Sosa told TV program 48 Hours that he instantly knew why Lulu wanted him dead. He believed it was primarily for financial gain, particularly related to their impending divorce and the distribution of assets. According to Sosa, Lulu knew how much he was worth dead. He explained that if he died after the divorce was finalized, she would not receive the money from his retirement, the value of the gym, or the value of their home. Instead, his children would inherit everything. Lulu became frustrated because the divorce was not progressing in her favor. She was also upset that she wouldn't get any alimony and that Ramon was no longer paying the mortgage. She felt as though she was running out of cash. Sosa believed Lulu felt she had no other choice but to have him killed. She allegedly told Mundo, they better kill him before the 22nd, which would be the day Ramon would sign the divorce papers. That way I'll have insurance for life, a pension for life. My life will be all figured out. His life is my retirement. Lulu also told Mundo, I'm desperate. I can't stand this anymore. I have everything to lose. I'm sick of all this paperwork. Despite the shock and disbelief, Sosa quickly realized the need to take immediate action. It then hit him that he still had to live under the same roof with the person planning to have him murdered. He described this situation, stating, Yes, I slept with the enemy and with one eye open, all while trying to act as normal as possible so Lulu would continue with her plan. Keep in mind, that was the only way we could catch her in the act. Sosa also expressed concern for his children, as he knew that if he died after the divorce was finalized, they would inherit his assets, which was not what Lulu wanted. Ramon and Mundo then devised a plan in which Mundo would pretend to hire a hitman, sending texts with details he'd share with Lulu. Ramon bought a cell phone to use as if he were Paco. Mundo then texted the burner phone back with her offer, $1,000 cash, along with Ramon's pickup truck. Mundo chose the name Paco after a character in the film Blood In, Blood Out, who turns out to be an undercover cop. Mundo started to secretly record his conversations with Lulu to gather evidence. In one recording, Lulu sorts through Ramon's watch collection and decides to use them, along with inexpensive jewelry and an additional $500 cash as a down payment. Just before July 4th, Lulu handed Mundo $100 for the fictional hitman to buy a stolen gun. Ramon and Mundo agreed that Ramon should go to the police. They met with Lieutenant Mike Atkins, and Mundo spent more than an hour telling detectives everything Lulu told him. He handed over the $100 and the recordings he made and allowed the detectives to download the text messages she had sent to his phone. Mundo also revealed that he used to be a gang member. Atkins asked Mundo to keep recording Lulu. Mundo recorded at least 12 conversations in Spanish over the course of 3 weeks. Mundo tells Lulu several times that she can abandon her plan. Mundo texted Lulu, "Just remember, once he's dead, there's no coming back from that." Lulu wrote back, "Clearer than water." Mundo, wearing a hidden camera, encouraged Lulu to get out of her car to meet Paco, sitting in a pickup parked nearby. Lulu never suspected that Paco was actually an undercover officer, as she climbed into the front seat of the officer's truck. The undercover officer asks in Spanish, "What's up?" Lulu said that she wants him dead. While this provided further evidence of Lulu's intent, the authorities were concerned that it might not be enough to secure a conviction. They worried that Lulu's defense could argue she was only seeking to have Ramon beaten up or scared, not killed. Moreover, there were concerns that a jury might sympathize with Lulu, especially given her claims of abuse against Ramon. To strengthen their case, law enforcement decided they needed irrefutable proof of Lulu's intentions. They needed to demonstrate what Lulu would do when presented with proof that Ramon was dead. This led to the idea of staging Ramon's death. The idea was conceived to remove any doubt about her intentions. By creating a scenario where Lulu believed Ramon was actually dead, they could capture her reaction and use it as evidence in court. The plan involved staging a crime scene, complete with a shallow grave and a deceased Ramon. Law enforcement consulted YouTube makeup tutorials to learn how to create realistic wounds. Ramon agreed to participate in the elaborate scheme, understanding that it was necessary to ensure Lulu's conviction. The development and staging of Ramon Sosa's fake murder scene was a meticulously planned operation by law enforcement, designed to secure a conviction against his wife for solicitation of capital murder. Being a bunch of middle-aged men, as one officer put it, they sought guidance from teenage girls online to master the art of applying makeup to simulate a fatal injury. They gathered images of actual crime scenes to serve as references. The assistant district attorney provided crime scene photos of deceased individuals with bullet wounds to their heads. One particular photo, deemed the most suitable for replication, was selected as the model for Ramon's staged death. With the makeup plan in place, law enforcement needed a location. They chose a county-owned right-of-way, a secluded area where dump trucks unloaded debris from county work sites. This location offered the privacy required to carry out the operation without attracting unwanted attention. A shallow grave was dug in the earth, adding to the realism of the staged scene. On July 21, 2015, the day of the staging, Ramon was transported to the site in a blacked-out SUV. Upon arrival, makeup artists applied fake blood and a bullet wound to Ramon's head. Corn syrup and food coloring were used to create the fake blood, while makeup from disaster drills was utilized. They then placed him in the grave, arranging his body to suggest he had been executed. His arms were pulled behind his back as though he had been bound, and dirt was thrown on his head to enhance the effect. Throughout the process, Ramon experienced a range of emotions, from disbelief to fear. He considered his relationship with Lulu and how it had led to this surreal and frightening moment. Once the scene was set, officers took photographs of Ramon in the grave. The lead detective declared, "We're done, Mr. Sosa. You can get up now." The intricacies surrounding the case reveal potential entrapment claims and ethical debates concerning the staging of a fake murder. These issues stem from law enforcement's methods to gather evidence and ensure a conviction, raising questions about the boundaries of permissible investigative tactics. The strategy employed by law enforcement to create a slam-dunk case involved staging Ramon Sosa's death, which has sparked discussions on whether this constituted entrapment. Entrapment occurs when law enforcement induces a person to commit a crime they would not have otherwise committed. The ethical debate centers on whether this action crossed the line from providing an opportunity to commit a crime to actively encouraging its commission. Concerns about entrapment are amplified by the fact that Lulu had no prior criminal record, and authorities were concerned that a jury might sympathize with her. This concern motivated the decision to stage the murder, aiming to eliminate any doubts about her guilt. Some might argue that without the staged photo, the evidence might have been insufficient to secure a conviction, suggesting that Lulu was, in effect, coerced into revealing her true intentions. Proponents of the law enforcement approach assert that Lulu had already demonstrated her intent through conversations and partial payments to the undercover officer posing as a hitman. The staged photo merely served as confirmation of her existing criminal intentions, rather than an inducement to commit a crime she was not predisposed to commit. This viewpoint emphasizes that the authorities were reacting to an existing threat and taking necessary steps to protect Ramon Sosa's life. The ethical dimensions of staging a fake murder also involve the potential psychological impact on the victim and his family. Posing as a dead man in a grave was a harrowing experience for Ramon, who had to confront the reality of his own mortality and the betrayal by his wife. His children also experienced emotional distress upon seeing the staged photos, highlighting the potential for long-term psychological harm. The tactics employed by Mundo, who initially gathered evidence against Lulu, also raise ethical questions. While his actions were motivated by a desire to protect his friend, Mundo's methods involved deception and manipulation, potentially blurring the lines between vigilantism and legitimate law enforcement. Julio Joglar, Lulu's divorce attorney, argued that she was a victim of abuse and acted out of fear. This perspective suggests that her actions should be viewed in the context of her circumstances, potentially mitigating her culpability. However, this argument did not negate the evidence of her intent to have Ramon killed, nor did it justify her actions in the eyes of the law. The methods they employed raise fundamental questions about the balance between effective crime fighting and the preservation of individual rights and ethical standards. The culmination of the meticulous planning and elaborate sting operation against Lulu involved a carefully orchestrated parking lot meeting where an undercover agent presented her with photographs of Ramon Sosa's staged murder. This meeting served as the critical moment to capture Lulu's reaction, solidifying the evidence needed to charge her with solicitation of capital murder. Following the staging of Ramon's death, law enforcement arranged for the undercover agent, posing as the hitman Paco, to meet with Lulu in the same parking lot where they had previously convened. This location, situated not far from the gym, provided a familiar setting that would not arouse Lulu's suspicion. The meeting took place on July 22, 2015. Unbeknownst to Lulu, the vehicle she entered was equipped with hidden cameras, capturing both audio and video recordings of the interaction. As Lulu settled into the driver's seat, the undercover agent initiated the conversation in Spanish and then revealed, "It's done. Everything good. We got him today." With the stage set, the undercover agent presented Lulu with the photographs of Ramon lying in a grave, feigning a gunshot wound. In the chilling moments that followed, Lulu examined the images, displaying a startling lack of emotion. Instead of expressing shock or remorse, she remained composed, betraying no visible reaction. The agent remarked, "The dumbass fought," eliciting laughter from Lulu. This reaction stunned law enforcement officials. Lieutenant Mike Atkins, who was observing the meeting from another undercover vehicle, described Lulu as a pretty cold character. The absence of shock or remorse further solidified the case against her, demonstrating her clear intent to have Ramon killed. As the conversation continued, the undercover agent and Lulu discussed the remaining payment for the hit. Lulu handed over $1,000 in cash and jewelry as part of the agreed-upon sum, which totaled $3,000, along with watches, jewelry, and Ramon's white pickup truck. Lulu then received more details about the final moments of Ramon's life. She calmly suggested they use FaceTime to prevent the police from tracking their communications. In a particularly disturbing exchange, Lulu paused and then stated, "He won't get up anymore, right?" followed by laughter. This chilling remark underscored her satisfaction with Ramon's supposed demise, further incriminating her in the murder-for-hire plot. After the meeting, Lulu left the parking lot, unaware that her every move had been documented and that her arrest was imminent. After gathering sufficient evidence of her intentions, law enforcement officers orchestrated a plan to confront Lulu and take her into custody. With Lulu's reaction captured on camera and her commitment to the murder confirmed, law enforcement prepared to make their move. The following morning, officers wearing body cameras arrived at the Woodlands Boxing and Fitness Gym, the business owned by Ramon and Lulu. Posing as detectives investigating a missing persons report, they approached Lulu and inquired about Ramon's whereabouts. During the conversation, Lulu feigned ignorance, claiming she had not seen or spoken to Ramon in several days due to their ongoing divorce proceedings. She maintained that she was unaware of his current location and expressed concern for his well-being, all while knowing that he was supposedly dead. This was the final confirmation detectives needed. After allowing Lulu's performance to continue for a few minutes, officers informed Lulu that she was under arrest, charging her with solicitation of capital murder. Lulu appeared completely dumbfounded, as described by one officer. As they placed Lulu in handcuffs, she protested that her rights had not been read to her before the arrest. However, the officers clarified that it was not necessary to read her rights before handcuffing her. Lulu was then transported to the Montgomery County Constable's office for questioning. Upon arrival at the constable's office, Lulu was read her Miranda rights, but declined to speak with investigators without an attorney present. Faced with overwhelming evidence against her, Lulu was booked into jail to await trial. The arrest occurred in front of Lulu's mother, her teenage daughter, and clients at the gym. Following Maria Lulu Sosa's arrest on July 23, 2015, after being charged with solicitation of capital murder, a series of significant events unfolded that dramatically impacted the lives of those involved. Ramon Sosa, who had been living in hiding and feigning his own death, now faced the task of revealing to his children the shocking truth that their stepmother had been plotting his murder. Mia Sosa, Ramon's daughter, recounted the moment her brother informed her, leading to a wave of disbelief and intense emotion. Mia described how she immediately started bawling her eyes out, overwhelmed by anger and disbelief that someone, particularly his wife, could want to kill her father. As Lulu awaited trial, the assault charge previously filed against Ramon was dismissed. Lulu then agreed to a divorce settlement that granted Ramon full ownership of the gym and the house. During this period, Ramon also grappled with the challenge of defending his reputation against the accusations Lulu had spread, including allegations of domestic abuse and alcoholism. Ramon vehemently denied these claims, which were investigated and found to be unsupported by evidence. The legal proceedings that followed the uncovering of Lulu Sosa's murder-for-hire plot against her husband culminated in a trial that captured significant attention. The trial and conviction of Lulu Sosa involved a series of legal maneuvers, emotional testimonies, and the presentation of damning evidence that ultimately led to her imprisonment. Facing a potential life sentence for a first-degree charge, Lulu was held in jail with a bond set at $1 million. Lulu's defense was led by her divorce lawyer, Julio Joglar, who argued that Ramon Sosa was violent toward his wife, causing her to fear him. Joglar claimed that the constant abuse and violent behavior drove Lulu to make a decision she otherwise would not have made. As part of her defense, Lulu made several accusations against Ramon, including claims of rape, abuse, and alcoholism. Ramon vehemently denied these allegations. He stated that he had never been charged for any of these claims and that they were part of Lulu's attempt to ruin his life. In the legal proceedings, Lulu initially pleaded not guilty and prepared for a jury trial. However, after spending 15 months in jail, Lulu changed her plea. In October 2016, she pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of second-degree solicitation of murder, thus avoiding a trial and the possibility of a life sentence. The decision to plead guilty was influenced by the overwhelming evidence against her, including video and audio recordings, as well as the staged photo of Ramon in a grave. During the trial, Ramon Sosa attended and provided testimony, as did Mundo. The prosecution presented the evidence gathered during the sting operation, including the audio and video recordings of Lulu discussing the murder plot and providing a down payment to the undercover officer posing as a hitman. The staged photograph of Ramon in a grave, with makeup simulating a gunshot wound, was also a key piece of evidence, demonstrating the extent of Lulu's intent. The undercover officer testified about his meetings with Lulu, detailing how she expressed her desire for Ramon to be killed and discussed the payment arrangements. Mundo testified about overhearing Lulu's initial conversations about finding someone to harm Ramon and how he subsequently gained her trust to gather more evidence. At a point in the trial, Ramon spoke directly to Lulu, stating that he forgave her. According to Sosa, "I stood up there in a packed courtroom. A lot of people were surprised when they heard me say that I forgave her. She never looked at me. She never apologized." Mia Sosa also spoke about the emotional impact of Lulu's actions on their family. Ultimately, Lulu Sosa was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Lulu's attorney stated that she admitted she made a mistake and accepted her punishment. The judge imposed the sentence, and Lulu was taken into custody to begin serving her term. The absence of public defense or statements from Lulu's family members further underscores the isolation and potential stigma they faced. No one from her family ever spoke publicly in her defense, indicating a possible withdrawal of support or a desire to distance themselves from the case and the negative attention it garnered. Following the sentencing, Ramon Sosa expressed relief that the ordeal was over, although he felt that the sentence was not long enough. Mia Sosa stated that she wanted Lulu away forever and did not want her to be released. In contrast, Lulu's attorney argued that justice was not served because Lulu's side of the story was not heard. The divorce settlement between Ramon and Lulu finalized after her arrest and resulted in Ramon receiving all assets. The terms of the settlement saw Lulu giving up significant property and rights to Ramon. As part of the settlement, Lulu relinquished her rights to the gym and the house they shared. The Woodlands Boxing and Fitness, which the couple co-owned, reverted solely to Ramon. This transfer allowed Ramon to continue his business, and he expressed his intention to focus on it with the help of his children. Lulu also surrendered her claims to their residence, enabling Ramon to maintain ownership of the property. This element of the settlement provided Ramon with a sense of stability. In the wake of the tumultuous events, it also allowed him to re-establish his life. Lulu's decision to relinquish these assets was influenced by her legal situation. Facing charges for solicitation of murder, she likely aimed to mitigate her legal repercussions by conceding to the divorce terms. This decision allowed her to avoid a potentially lengthier and more detrimental trial, where she could have faced a life sentence. Ramon characterized Lulu's loss as a consequence of her actions, stating that she had come to the United States with an American dream and obtained it quickly, only to lose everything due to her choices. He contrasted her initial aspirations with the ultimate outcome. This outcome saw her imprisoned and stripped of her assets. Mia Sosa also noted that she was relieved to see her ex-stepmother plead guilty. In pleading guilty, Lulu was giving up any claim to the assets that she may have had. This plea ensured that Ramon and his family could begin the process of healing and moving forward. The divorce settlement terms underscore the profound consequences of Lulu's actions, highlighting how her attempt to hire a hitman not only led to her imprisonment, but also resulted in the complete forfeiture of her marital assets to Ramon. Following the ordeal, Mia moved back to Texas to rebuild her relationship with her father. After the trial and sentencing of Maria Lulu Sosa, Ramon Sosa transitioned into a public advocate, leveraging his experience to support victims of domestic violence and share his message of survival. This new chapter in his life involved multiple facets, including public speaking, writing, and engagement with charitable causes. Sosa embarked on a career as a motivational speaker, recounting his story to diverse audiences both domestically and internationally. His speeches detailed the events leading up to Lulu's plot, the emotional and psychological impact of the betrayal, and his journey toward healing and recovery. By sharing his personal experiences, Sosa aimed to inspire others facing adversity and to provide hope for those in similar situations. In addition to public speaking, Sosa authored a book titled "I Walked on My Own Grave," which provided a comprehensive account of his ordeal. The book delved into the intricacies of his relationship with Lulu, the discovery of her murder plot, and the subsequent investigation and trial. Through his writing, Sosa sought to offer readers a deeper understanding of the complexities of domestic violence and the importance of resilience in the face of trauma. Sosa dedicated himself to supporting male victims of domestic violence, recognizing the often overlooked challenges faced by men in abusive relationships. He collaborated with various charities and organizations to raise awareness about male domestic violence and to advocate for resources and support services tailored to their specific needs. Sosa's advocacy challenged societal norms and stereotypes surrounding male victimization, encouraging men to come forward and seek help without fear of judgment or stigma. His advocacy extended to promoting awareness and prevention of domestic violence in general, regardless of gender. He actively participated in campaigns and initiatives aimed at educating the public about the warning signs of abuse, the dynamics of power and control in relationships, and the importance of early intervention and support. Sosa's involvement in these efforts underscored his commitment to creating a safer and more equitable society for all individuals. Sosa's post-trial advocacy was not without its challenges. He faced the ongoing emotional impact of the trauma he had experienced, as well as the need to manage his public persona while maintaining his personal well-being. Despite these challenges, Sosa remained steadfast in his commitment to using his platform to make a positive difference in the lives of others, driven by a deep sense of purpose and a desire to prevent similar tragedies from occurring. In reflecting on his journey, Sosa emphasized the importance of forgiveness, resilience, and the power of human connection. He encouraged individuals facing difficult situations to seek support, to never give up hope, and to embrace the opportunity for growth and transformation, even in the face of unimaginable adversity. In the years following her conviction, Lulu Sosa has been incarcerated at the Crane Unit in Texas. She became eligible for parole in October 2017, but it was denied at her first hearing. She becomes eligible for parole again in August 2025. If you're feeling trapped in a toxic relationship or facing abuse, you're not alone. Help is available. Visit wannatalkaboutit.com for support, resources, and a safe space to talk. You deserve to be heard.